Hi guys, my name is Elizabeth and I wanted to make a video about my experience with going on Tinder dates. I've seen a lot of videos talking about girls' experiences and guys' experiences going on dates and how horrible the person was, and I think that I've had a lot of really awful experiences myself. I've gone on a lot of dates with people who have been less than charming, and I think that I could probably dish out a few good stories myself. So if you want to hear my story, then please keep watching. So the first story, or the first date that comes to mind would probably be the one that was the most violent. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. So I had wanted to join Tinder because I have difficulty meeting people. I get really nervous, I get really anxious, and if it were to be like in person, it probably just wouldn't happen on my end because I'm super like, I can be really shy, even though like maybe I don't come across as that. I can be a little bit beside myself. If I'm really interested in somebody and I see them, then like I'm not going to be the person that makes the first move. Anyways, so I was tired of not being in a relationship. Sorry, Kiwi. Sorry, my dog is like going crazy. I was tired of not being in a relationship anymore, and I wanted to go on dates, you know. I just finished up with school and I had a lot of free time, and so I was like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity for me to go on dates and maybe meet somebody. That being said, my last few relationships, I'd met the person online, so I do have experience with online dating. I've done it before. I've been on sites like Plenty of Fish, Match.com, yeah, and I've gone on like a lot of online dates, so I wasn't like a newbie whatsoever when it came to that. But so I had heard about this dating app called Tinder, right? And I guess, you know, a lot of people were using it and it was really easy to use, and from what I gathered, there were a lot of people around my age that used it, and it was just really easy and it was fun. So how Tinder works, I'm sure you know already, is that, you know, it shows somebody's photo, and then if you're interested in them, you either swipe right, which means you like them, or you swipe left, which means you dislike them, right? So I had swiped right on a guy that I thought was attractive, and he had done the same for me, so we matched. And we started talking right away, I think. We began speaking pretty quickly. And I'm the type of person where if I'm talking to somebody, like I don't like to wait to meet them. Like I'm very like just not patient when it comes to that. Like I want to meet them right away. I want to see if there's a connection in person because it's so easy to get along with somebody over text, right? You know, that doesn't take very much effort, I think, anyways. So it came down to this one night that I was out with one of my girlfriends and her boyfriend, and we were all drinking, we were at the bars. It was my birthday weekend, actually, now that I think about it. And so we were just kind of like bar hopping, and I decided to text him. And I was pretty inebriated at this point, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, like, I'm gonna text him, I'm gonna invite him to come, like, it's gonna be great, like, we're so gonna hit it off, like, this is perfect timing. Not perfect timing. I don't recommend ever meeting anybody when you're drunk because your inhibitions are just completely out the window, and I've just put myself in a lot of very bad / awkward situations doing that. So anyways, yeah, so I invited him out and I was like, you should come out, like it's gonna be so much fun, and he agreed. He was like, yeah, totally, I'll come meet you. And it was probably around 2 a.m. at the time, and my friend and her boyfriend had to drive back home because they lived about an hour away, almost 2 hours away. And but I had actually met two girls at the bar that night, and me and them had become fast friends. And they wanted to hang out after, and I was down too. So I was like, okay, well, where can we do that? Where can we hang out? And one of the girls was like, well, you could come to my house. Like, yeah, I guess there was like nobody home, and so she could have people over. And I told the guy, the Tinder date, that, and he was down. He was like, yeah, for sure. So I met up with him. I met up with him at the bar, and like outside of the bar because he came really late. And we just kind of like said hi really fast, and then I was like, okay, well, we're gonna go to this girl's house. So I'm gonna ride with you. And so I rode with him, and we followed the girls to the house. And yeah, we got there at like 2:20, 2:30 or something like that. I don't know. She lived pretty close though. And so all of us were just kind of hanging out in the kitchen, and we were drinking, we were talking, and everything was going pretty well for the most part. I did notice though that when I was hanging out with everybody, that my date was actually like almost kind of ignoring me. Like he was hanging out with, or not hanging out with, but just like talking with one of the girls like a lot more than he was with me. And like it was kind of awkward. Like I didn't know, like, should I like say something? Should I like intervene? Should I like try to like get his attention and like be more aggressive? Like I didn't know, but like I just kind of like sat back and let him do his thing, because I was like, well, obviously I'm not gonna be rude. Like this isn't my house. I don't even really know these girls, so I'm not gonna say anything. As the night progressed, it was probably around like 4, close to 5, everybody started getting really tired, and everybody started going to bed. And the two girls actually ended up going to bed, and me and the Tinder date were kind of just left in the kitchen, and we were talking. And this is where I kind of noticed that he was acting a little bit weird. He was just like very standoffish, and he didn't really seem into me at all, and it was just like very sorry, I heard somebody coming, so I was like in my family's back house right now, and so I'm trying not to be super loud because it's kind of late. But yeah, so anyways, I told him I was like, well, you're acting kind of weird, like, I don't know, like, you're just not talkative. I don't exactly remember, like, the words that I used, but it wasn't, like, anything rude. It was just kind of, like, questioning, like, why he was acting, so standoffish. And he made, like, some kind of snide remark, and I was just like, oh, like, I didn't know, like, what to make of him. Like, in that moment, I didn't think that he disliked me, because I don't know, like I just thought that if he didn't like me, maybe he wouldn't have came to the girl's house with me. I mean, I don't know. And so he made a comment, and he was just like, I don't remember like how it led up to this. Like I definitely didn't say anything mean. I was just like, oh, you're acting weird, like you're not like how you were like online or whatever. And then he was like, well, at least I'm not 60 pounds heavier than I am on my Tinder profile picture. So he basically was like saying that I was overweight, and like my reaction was just like like what? I didn't even know like what to say at that point, because like I was just so taken aback, and like I never had anybody say something like just so mean. Like I was just like, how, like I could never imagine saying that to anybody, let alone having somebody say that to me. So like my initial reaction was just like shock. Like I was like, I don't know, like I was definitely like very angry, and I was very hurt. I'm somebody who's like very self-conscious about my weight. Like I'm aware that like I'm not at my thinnest right now, and so him making that comment was just like, I don't know, kicking a horse when it's down. Like I was very offended and hurt by that. And so, like, my first reaction was shock. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. And then my second reaction was anger. Like, I just saw nothing but red. And then my third reaction was, where's the nearest glass? It needs to be thrown at him. So, since we were in the kitchen, there were, like, cups near me. So I grabbed the cup that was on the table next to me, and I was like, whoosh, and I threw it at him. And he, like, he dodged it and it like hit the wall or whatever. And so what he decided was a good thing to do was to then not talk to me, not try to calm me down, not try to say, look, I'm sorry, like I know that that was really out of line. His reaction was to come behind me and choke me to the point where I passed out on the floor. Yeah, you heard that right. That's what he did. I mean, awful. Just awful. I don't even know how you could like go from that point to like that extreme. Like that to me is like obviously that's something that you've done before and that's like how you cope with situations. Like you just try to like I don't know. Anyways, so he choked me and I remember him saying very clearly, he was like, all right, you're going to sleep now. And I remember just being like I didn't know what to do because like I've never been in that situation. I've never been choked to the point of like passing out before. And so like I mean, obviously I was like really scared. I was like, oh my God, like I was trying to hit him, but like I couldn't because he like had his arm around my neck. And the next thing I remembered was waking up on the kitchen floor. And I woke up on the floor and I was just staring at the ceiling and like I didn't know where I was at first because like I didn't recognize the house and I was like, well, this isn't my room. Like, what? And like I just remember everything being really foggy and then like slowly I could start to hear like voices come in and then I saw the guy, the Tinder guy, and I saw the girl whose house it was actually standing over me. And I guess the guy was telling the girl like, oh, call the cops because like he for some reason he wanted to call the cops on me when I was the one who was assaulted. So I was just like, I don't know, I was beside myself. And yeah, I mean, I guess like all the noise and everything woke her up, and so she came out and checked on us, and that's what she came to find. So when I woke up, like I was just like, I like slowly everything started to come back to me, and I was like, did he just choke me out? Oh my fucking God, I think he just choked me out. What? Like I've never had anybody do that, and I never thought that like a guy, like I mean, I'm not trying to be like sexist or anything, but I feel like men shouldn't like especially men should not be allowed to like put their hands on women. I don't think that women should be allowed to put their hands on men either, of course, but I don't know, there was just something very, very wrong about that, and I remember just like being in complete shock. And so I was actually the one who dialed 911, and I was like, well, something needs to be done. Like I don't know what needs to be done, but something, like I need to do something, because in that moment I was just so angry and like so just like like I didn't know what to do. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to call the cops. Like, they need to figure this out because at this point, I don't know. So I called them and the operator was asking for my address and I like didn't know the address because like it wasn't my house. So I asked the girl, I was like, what's the address? And she was like, no, I'm just going to call you an Uber. Like, I'm not going to give you the address, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what is your address? Like, I want the cops to come here. I want them to talk to him. Like, something needs to come of this. Like, he's not just getting off like scot-free. Scot-free? Scotch-free? I don't know. So I saw like near me on the counter there were like envelopes and whatever, and I was like, oh, the address is definitely on this. So I grabbed it, saw the address, gave it to the operator, and the cops were there in about 20 minutes. I would say they were there pretty fast, and they pulled me aside. They took me outside and they talked to him like in the living room area, and then they actually ended up arresting him. So he went to jail that night, and he what was he like up against? It was a charge of, oh, what's the name of it? Intense bodily injury. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Because when you choke somebody out, like there's always the possibility that like they may suffer from brain damage or that they may die. Like it's a really serious thing to do, and so he was in a lot of trouble for that. As he should have been, because that it's not okay, and that's, you know, it's never okay to do that to anybody, whether male or female. Like that's just not right, and there needs to be there needs to be some type of repercussion for doing that. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, he went to jail that night, and he got released the next day. I got a phone call from the jailhouse, one of the officers there. And a few days later, actually it was the next day, I actually realized that like my voice was starting to leave, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so weird. And then it was 2 days after that, my voice was completely gone. I've never had that happen to me before where like literally I couldn't even like whisper anything because like nothing would come out at all. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, like what if this is because of him choking me? Like I should go and get this checked out. Like this could be like, I don't know, evidence or something. Maybe the cops would want to know this. So I ended up going to my doctor, and she did an examination or whatever, and she was like, yeah, like this definitely looks to be tied to the assault that happened to you. I had told her the whole story so that she would like document everything properly. So yeah, it wasn't my best date. To this day, it wasn't that long ago. It was like last month. Yeah, it was about last month, 4 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. So he hasn't actually been charged with anything yet. I think he's still going through the whole court system and having to appear and whatever. But yeah, so I think that was probably one of my worst dates for sure. Sorry, my extensions are like popping through. Not good. Not good. And I think that after that date, because that's the most recent Tinder date I've had, and I think that after that I really just kind of like took a step back and I said, listen, like what I'm doing isn't working for me. Like I'm obviously going out on dates with people that aren't great. Like I need to kind of like reassess how I am dating people and how I'm choosing who I'm going on dates with people, because I was going through a few bad eggs there. I have a ton more Tinder stories, and I'm sure I'll be going through them, because I mean if you guys want to hear them, I definitely have quite a few involving dates stealing my purse, recording me, just like crazy things, crazy stories. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed my story and that maybe you learned something from it, to maybe just be cautious if you're dating online, and make sure that you're doing, like, at least know somebody for longer than a few days, like via text messages before meeting up, because you really honestly never know who you're meeting. There's so many creeps online, and there's so many people that are just like ready to take advantage of girls, you know, guys too, I'm sure. So yeah, just be careful out there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I am going to be trying to post new videos at least once or twice a week. I'm getting into this whole YouTube thing, and I'm really excited about it. I've been wanting to do it for a long time now, years now actually. So this is really exciting, and bear with me if my videos aren't the best quality and if my backgrounds aren't exactly the most pleasant to the eye. It's going to take time to kind of get everything together, but yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye guys.